హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు గౌరీ స్మార్ట్ ఛానల్. నా ఛానల్ కనుక మీరు ఫస్ట్ టైం వచ్చినట్లయితే ఇక్కడ ఉన్న సబ్స్క్రైబ్ బటన్ని క్లిక్ చేయండి, పక్కన ఉన్న బెల్ ఐకాన్ని క్లిక్ చేయండి. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు ఆల్ నోటిఫికేషన్స్ వస్తాయి, ఈ ఆల్ నోటిఫికేషన్స్ క్లిక్ చేయండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Today we are going to discuss about cell, the structural and functional unit of life. You know children, all the organisms, whether it is plant or animal, all animals are and all plants are made up of cells. You should know this statement first. So cell is a tiny part in plants and animals. Every plant and animal is made up of a cell, and this cell is firstly discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. The word cell is coming from the Latin word cellula. This is a Latin word. The word cell is coming from the Latin word cellula, which means tiny compartments. Tiny compartments or small chambers. So here cell is coming from the word cellula, which is a Latin word, which means tiny compartments or small chambers. And for the first time the cells are discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. And you know, some of the organelles or some of the organisms made up of only a single cell, they are called as unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms. Some organisms made up of more than 2 cells, maybe there are 10 cells or 100 cells or lakhs of cells or crores of cells, more than 2 cells. If the organism made up of more than 2 cells, that is called as multicellular organism. Multicellular organism. Or multicellular organisms. Here in the unicellular organisms, the organism only composed of a single cell. For example, amoeba. Amoeba, the entire body and entire organism made up of only a single cell. That type of organisms are called unicellular organisms. The best example for the unicellular organisms is amoeba. Along with the amoeba, many types of organisms are there belongs to unicellular organisms like paramecium, chlamydomonas, euglena, like that. The best example for that is amoeba. And multicellular organisms, which means the entire body is made up of more than 2 cells. As I am earlier said that 2 cells or 10 cells or 100 cells or 1000 cells or lakhs of cells. The entire body is made up of more than 2 cells. For example, matured plants and animals, mango tree or apple tree or banana tree, or animals like human beings and lions and tigers. All these are best example for multicellular organisms. Okay, next let us discuss about the types of cells. The types of cells on the basis of the nucleus present in the cell. On the basis of the presence of the nucleus in the cell, cells are of 2 types. First one is prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cells. These two are classified on the basis of presence of the nucleus in the cell. Presence of nucleus. You know, in all type of cells, nucleus is there. For example, if it is a cell, in the nucleus there is important organelle that is called nucleus. nucleus. If any type of cell containing the nucleus, that is called as eukaryotic cell, which means the cell is containing membrane bound organelles and the nucleus, well defined nucleus. If there is no nucleus in the cell, that is called as prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells. Here we are classifying the cells on the basis of presence of the nucleus. If the nucleus present in the cell, that is called as eukaryotic cell. If there is no nucleus in the cell, that is called as prokaryotic cell. Best example for the prokaryotic cell is bacteria. Bacteria. In bacteria cells, there is no nucleus. If it is a cell, there is no nucleus in the bacteria cell, and there is no membrane bound structures or membrane bound organelles within it. Okay, this is second point. We are only going to discuss only single point and important point, that is presence of nucleus. If the nucleus present in the cell, that is called as eukaryotic cell. Examples, blood cells, which mean white blood cells, and prokaryotic cell, best example is bacteria. In bacteria cells, there is no nucleus in the cell. In blood cells and nerve cells and muscle cells, everything, and what I said, the examples, they have a nucleus in the cell. So here we discussed about who discovered the cell. Robert Hooke in 1665, and the cell is coming from the Latin word cellula, which means tiny compartment or small chambers, and unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. So if the organism made up of a single cell, that is called as unicellular organisms. Best example is amoeba. And multicellular organisms, best example is plants and animals, which mean the organism made up of more than 2 cells, right. And on the presence of the nucleus, the cells are classified in 2 types, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. In the prokaryotic cell, there is no nucleus in the cell, and in the eukaryotic cell, there is a nucleus within the cell. That is the classification of the cells on the basis of nucleus. Okay. Here in the lesson, we have to discuss about cell theory. Cell theory is nothing but the fundamental principle of the cells. The fundamental principle of the cells. The cell theory is proposed by Slayden and Swan. Slayden and Swan. Cell theory is proposed by Slayden and Swan. In his theory, they said that cell is a basic structural and functional unit of the life, and all the animals, all the plants should made up of cell only, which means all the organisms are made up of cells. This is the basic unit of the functional and structural unit of the life, which means all the cells are made up of all the organisms are made up of cell, and the structure, entire structure of the organism is only coming from due to the presence of the cell only. So the structure and the function is only because of cells in the organisms. This is the main point of the cell theory. The cell theory is proposed by Slayden and Swan. After few years, Virchow, scientist name is Virchow, he expanded the cell theory again. He expanded the cell theory. Cell theory. What is his expansion? He said that all the cells are coming from pre-existing cells. For example, if it is a cell, if it is this X, this cell is coming from pre-existing cells. If new cells are coming from the X, if it is providing 2 eggs again, 2 cells again, then these all cells are coming from pre-existing cells. These cells are coming from pre-existing cell. This cell is coming from pre-existing cells. So which means all the cells are coming from pre-existing cells. If there is no cell in the previous, there is no cells coming from next generation. So here in this view of the Virchow or Virchow, the all new cells are coming from pre-existing cells, the older cells. This is the expansion of the cell theory. So here the cell theory is proposed by Sladen and Swan. As per their view, all the organisms are made up of the cells, and cell is a basic unit of life and structural and functional unit of the life. And Virchow expanded the cell theory with his point. The point is all the new cells are coming from pre-existing cells, which means previous cells. New cells are coming from pre-cells. These the main points belongs to cell theory. Let us discuss what is the largest cell in the world, what is the smallest cell in the world. The largest cell in the world is the vava of ostrich. Ostrich is a bird, the largest bird, the biggest bird. The egg of the ostrich or vava of the ostrich is the largest cell in the world, largest cell. And smallest cell is PPLO. PPLO. The smallest cell is PPLO, and the largest cell is the vava of the ostrich or egg of the ostrich. This is the largest cell. While we are talking about the human beings, the largest cell is vava. Vavas are only belongs to female. And smallest cell is red blood cell. And the largest cell is nerve cell. Largest cell is nerve cell. So here we discussed about 5 things. First one is the largest cell in the world is egg of the ostrich. The smallest cell in the world is PPLO. And when we discuss about human beings, the largest cell in the human being is vava of a female. The smallest cell red blood cell. The largest mean, sorry, not largest, longest, which mean lengthy cell is nerve cell. So these are important points about the size of the cells. You know, some cells are round, some cells are spherical, some cells are cylindrical, some cells are long and branched. Let us discuss about them. Some cells are round, some cells are spherical, some cells are spindle shaped, some cells are long and branched. Let us discuss examples for that. Some cells are round in the structure, round in the shape. Examples are blood cells, red blood cells or white blood cells, whatever it may be, blood cells. And spherical, some cells are spherical like this. Some blood cells are in spherical shape. So for round and spherical shape we can give examples blood cells. And spindle shaped, best examples for the spindle shape is muscle cells. Cells in the muscles are best examples for spindle shaped. And long and branched, Example is nerve cell. Nerve cell. Again, the shape of the cell is varies from animal to animal, plant to plant. Some are in round shape, some are in spherical shape. For the round and spherical shape, we can give examples: blood cells, and a spindle shaped, best example muscle cell, and long and branched nerve cells. They are very long in the structure. They appears like this. So they are very long and branched. So best example for the long and branched cells, nerve cells. Let us discuss the internal parts of the cell and their functions. Internal parts of the cells and their functions. Internal parts of the cells are known as organelles, cell organelles. Internal parts of the cells are called as organelles. Organelles. Let us discuss one by one. Cell wall, cell membrane, vacuole and nucleus, mitochondria, and plastids, ribosomes, and lysosomes, and ER, endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. And so these are important parts in the cell: cell wall, cell membrane, vacuole, nucleus, mitochondria, plastids, ribosomes, lysosomes, endoplasmic reticulum. This is also called as ER. Let us discuss about cell wall. Cell wall is the outermost layer in plant cells. This is only present in plant cells, not in animal cells. You know, cells are classified into two types. If the cell is present in animal, that is called as animal cell. If the cells are present in plants, they are called as plant cells. Okay, so plant cells and animal cells, these are two types. Here, cell walls is only present in plant cells, not in animal cells. Due to the presence of the cell wall, this may be the general structure of the plant cell. This is a general structure of the animal cell. So always we are showing the animal cell in circular shape. Whereas if you are writing or telling about plant cells, we have to draw the structure of the plant cell like this, hexagonal shape, right? So here it is a plant cell. In the plant cell, the outermost membrane is called as cell wall. It is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. Cellulose and hemicellulose. This is the outermost membrane, and this is non-living membrane. This is non-living membrane, which provide the security to the internal parts of the cell, which gives strength to the internal parts of the cell. And this is the outermost membrane of the plant cell only. Here we discussed two things about the outer membrane of the plant cell. This is called as cell wall, which is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. This is non-living cellular organelle, which provides strength and the security to the internal parts of the cell. And the cell membrane, this is the outermost membrane of the animal cell and secondary outermost membrane of the plant cell. In the animal cell, this is the outermost membrane, primary membrane. In plant cells, cell membrane is the secondary outermost membrane. Above the cell membrane, there is a membrane called cell wall in plant cells. Whereas in animal cells, the outermost membrane is a cell membrane. There is no cell wall in animal cells. And this cell membrane is made up of proteins and fats. Proteins and fats. These fats are also called as lipids. These fats are also called as lipids. Whether it is in plant cell or animal cell, this cell membrane is made up of proteins and fats. Here the cell wall is membrane, cell wall is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. Clear? Right. Here the cell membrane also having different names like permeable membrane, and semi-permeable membrane. Selectively permeable membrane. And living membrane. And plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. So these are names for the cell membrane. The cell membrane usually allows some type of substances into the cell and out of the cell. For example, if it is a cell, it allows certain substances into the cell, and it will get rid some materials from the cell. It allows some materials and it sends only some materials. Selectively it pumps or sends outside from the cell. So that is why the cell membrane containing different names: permeable membrane, semi-permeable membrane, selectively permeable membrane, living membrane, and plasma membrane. These are names for cell membrane. This is made up of proteins and fats, and this is the outermost membrane of the animal cell, secondary outermost membrane of the plant cell. Clear? And I have to discuss about cell sap too. Cell sap. Cell sap. This is also important part. Cell sap. Let us discuss about this. Let us discuss about this. It is also completed. It is also completed. Let us discuss cell sap. If it is a cell, cells are containing important organelle nucleus. Nucleus. Okay. Between the nucleus and the cell membrane, between the nuclear membrane and cell membrane, that is there is a fluid filled portion. This portion is called as cell sap. This fluid filled portion is called as cell sap. It occupies from the nuclear membrane to cell membrane. This is cell membrane. This is nuclear membrane. From the nuclear membrane to cell membrane, there is a fluid filled portion that is called as cell sap. On the cell sap, all the other organelles usually floats, like ship floats on the sea water. In that way, all the cellular organelles are floats on this fluid portion called cell sap. Cell sap occupied from the nuclear membrane to cell membrane. Let us discuss about vacuole. Vacuole is a sac-like structure, which stores proteins and fats and gases, all the materials it can store in the cell. For example, in the animal cells, if it is animal cell, vacuoles are small in the size and more in the number, and more in the number. If it is a plant cell, the vacuole may occupies more than 60% of the space in the cell. In matured plant cells, the vacuole may occupies more than 60% of the space. The main function of the vacuole is to be store glucose and water and gases and all the materials in the cell. So this is the main function of the vacuole, storage. Storage is the main function of the vacuole. If the vacuole present in the animal cell, they are very small in the size and many in the number. If the vacuole present in the plant cells, it occupies more than 60% of the space in the cell, right? So plant cells are having a larger size of vacuole, a large size vacuole, and animal cells containing a small size vacuole but many in number. But here single vacuole big in the size. Plant cells are having a big size vacuole, animal cells are having small size vacuole but many in number, right? Cell. It is also completed. Let us discuss nucleus. Cell, again nucleus. Nucleus is important organelle in the cell, which contains ribbon-like structures called chromosomes. Chromosomes are containing genes. Genes are containing DNA. In DNA material, our characters, hereditary characters usually stored. For example, we are coming from our parents and we are also looking like our parents too. Why? Because we are coming from them. So all the genetical material are present or stored in this nucleus portion. So here the nucleus portion is containing the hereditary material, okay, called chromosomes. Chromosomes are part of nucleus and genes are part of chromosomes and DNA is a part of genes. So all these are containing our inheritance or hereditary materials, hereditary characters, okay. So here it is containing ribbon-like structures called chromosomes, and the material present in the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. The membrane around the nucleus is called nuclear membrane. Here these are two important parts. The membrane around the nucleus is called nuclear membrane. The material in the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. Here the cell sap and nucleoplasm both together called as protoplasm. So you know the liquid portion of the cell is called cell sap. The liquid portion of the nucleoplasm is called the liquid portion in the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. Together the cell sap and nucleoplasm together called protoplasm. This is a very important bit in this lesson. Protoplasm is nothing but nucleoplasm plus cell sap. And mitochondria. Mitochondria is present in both the animal cell and plant cell. Also. The main function of the mitochondria is to oxidize glucose in the cell. You know all the cells contain glucose. Usually in the mitochondria glucose will be oxidized. While it is oxidizing, it produces some energy. this energy will be used by the entire cell. This energy will be used by the entire cell for the cellular activities. Okay, here we have to identify one thing. The energy is coming from the mitochondria, which is present in both plant cells and animal cells. Okay, that is why this mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse of the cell. What is the powerhouse of the cell? Mitochondria, which oxidize the glucose and produces the energy. That is why the mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell, which means it is providing the power, energy. This energy will be used by all the cellular organelles for the cellular activities. Clear? Let us discuss about plastids. Plastids are only present in plant cells. Plastids are only present in plant cells. There is no plastids in animal cells. Plastids are only present in plant cells. For example, if it is a plant cell, it contains three type of plastids. First one is chromoplast. Second one is leucoplast. Fourth one is chloroplast. You know, chromoplasts are colored plastids. They are only present in flowers, and some type of plants are having a different colors of leaves. In that leaves also we can see the chromoplast. So due to the presence of the chromoplast, some leaves are green in color, some leaves are red in color, yellow in color, and purple in color, orange in color. This is only due to the presence of chromoplast. You know, flowers of the plants are different in colors, white color, red color, blue color, and orange color, like that. This is only presence of chromoplast. So chromoplasts are present in flowers and colored portions of the leaf, and leucoplasts. These are in white color. The main function of the leucoplast is to be store the food materials. So in the leucoplast, food is usually stored, and chromoplasts are present in flowers and colored portions of the leaves. Let us discuss about chloroplasts. You know, around us there are many plants, and usually these all plants are green in color. This is only because of chloroplasts. So green color of the plant is because of only chloroplast. Chloroplast is nothing but green color. So here plants are green in color due to the presence of chloroplast. Flowers are different in colors because of chromoplast. And leucoplasts are white in color. This is only for storage of the food material. Okay, so these are the types of plastids. Plastids are three types: chromoplast and chloroplast and leucoplast. Leucoplasts are white in color, chromoplasts are different in color. I mean, various colors are there: red, orange, and blue, and purple, like that. And chloroplasts only green in color. So green plants are only having the chloroplast. Okay, so only plastids are present in plant cells only, not in animals. Okay, let us discuss about ribosomes. Ribosomes are tiny granule-like structures. For example, if it is a cell, the ribosomes are present in both plant cell and animal cell. They are very tiny like portions, tiny particles. They like looking like sand particles. They are made up of proteins and fats. Okay, let us discuss about the function of the ribosome. You know, if it is a cell membrane of the plant, it must be made up of proteins and fats. The main function of the ribosomes is to synthesize proteins and fats. It is made up of proteins and fats, and also it is synthesizing, preparing proteins and fats. This protein and fat is helping in the formation of the cell membrane, formation of the nuclear membrane, formation of the all the membranes of the organelles, you know. Many organelles are there in the cell. These all organelles are having membranes around them. These all membranes are made up of proteins and fats. These proteins and fats are synthesizing by the ribosomes. So here I am summarizing about ribosomes again. They are tiny particle like structures. They are made up of proteins and fats, and they are synthesizing, preparing the proteins and fats. Okay, the main function of the ribosome is to synthesize proteins and fats. Okay, these proteins or fats are helping in formation of the cell membrane, nuclear membrane, and all the cellular organelles membranes, outer membranes. Clear? And these ribosomes are sometimes attached to some organelles, sometimes they are free, they are freely floats on the cell sap. Sometimes they are attached to the some organelles. Let us discuss further about them. Right now we will discuss about lysosomes. What are they? Lysosomes. Lysosomes are also called as suicidal bags of the cell. Suicidal bags of the cells, which means the digestion portion of the cell is taken by the lysosomes. While it is digesting the food materials, it is itself died. That is why the lysosomes are called as suicidal bags of the cell. Here lysosomes are doing digestion. Whatever material is there in the cell, it should be digested. While it is digesting the material, it is itself die. That is why it is called as suicidal bags of the cell. Suicidal bags of the cell. Lysosomes are called as suicidal bags of the cell. And endoplasmic reticulum, it is also called as ER. For example, if it is a cell, it occupies the most of the cellular portions. It is made up of many membranes. It is a framework of the membranes. For example, we have skeletal system within our body, and it gives a structure and shape and strength to our body. In the same way, the endoplasmic reticulum also a membranous framework which gives the structure and shape to the entire cell. If there is no endoplasmic reticulum, there is no specific shape to the cell. So here the endoplasmic reticulum is providing the shape and the structure and stability and strength to the entire cell. Is it clear? And some endoplasmic reticulum have ribosomes on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. If the ribosomes are present on the endoplasmic reticulum, that type of endoplasmic reticulum is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so here on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, some ribosomes are there. If the ribosomes are present on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, that is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. If there is no ribosomes on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, they are called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so here if the ribosomes are there on the endoplasmic reticulum, that is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum. If there is no ribosomes on endoplasmic reticulum, that is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Let us discuss the function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum, is to synthesize proteins. Let us discuss the function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is to synthesize fats. Here the main function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is to synthesize proteins. The main function of the SMR, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, or SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, is fats. Here proteins and here fats are synthesizing. These are important internal organelles of the cell. Let us discuss the differences between the plant cell and animal cell. From the starting of my lesson, I am telling you two differences about a plant cell and animal cell. The structure of the plant cell is usually shown in the hexagonal. The structure of the animal cell usually shown in the circular shape. Let us discuss the important points belongs to differences of plant cell and animal cell. Plant cells are having cell wall. Cell wall is present. Here in the animal cell and plant cell, cell wall is absent. Second point, plastids are present in the plant cell and plastids are absent. Third point, large size vacuole is present. Large size vacuole is present, and small size vacuoles are present in animal cell. Fourth point, animal cell is always constant. Plant cell is always constant. Here in the animal cell, it can change its shape. So here I told you 4 important points belongs to plant cell and animal cell differences. Plant cell, cell wall is present, cell wall is absent. Plastids are present, plastids are absent. And large size vacuole is present, it is only 1 in number. In the animal cell, small size vacuoles are there, they are many in the number. And cell of the plant cell is constant always, there is no change. In animal cell, the cell can be changed its shape. For example, white blood cell in our body can be changed its shape, and amoeba, it is also capable in the changing its shape always. Thank you one and all.